All right. And it says we are live. What is up, guys? My name is Aaron. I'm going to be talking about Zombicide, its current release or edition in the very, very long series, which we'll get into that. But yeah, I just kind of want to jump right into Zombicide and this game. It's a pretty big game. There's a lot of copies out in the world of Zombicide. So let's actually, yeah, I'm gonna start talking about the first time I played Zombicide, because it was a pretty funny experience, and it actually directly relates to a big problem that a lot of people say this game has, and that is that there's dead turns. So there's 6 players, there's always 6 characters being played in the game, but you can man all of those characters, or play them, if you will, and it's not that bad with one person. I actually really enjoy the game. And I think up to 2 to 3 players, I think the community has kind of reached a sort of consensus on that 3 players is kind of the max as far as fun to be had and everything. And it's because of dead turns. So the first time I played Zombicide, I was at my local card shop, which is no longer around. I started gaming through Magic the Gathering. And it honestly looked intimidating. I was intimidated by board games at that point. I was like, man, look at all these pieces. Look at so many all this artwork and cards. And I just enjoyed Magic the Gathering. But slowly that changed over time. But I remember everyone distinctly picking characters as if certain ones were better than others, which to me is still a funny concept, that certain classes are objectively better. And I guess if you want to look at or calculate the game in just numbers and things like damage over time, then yeah, you could, I guess, objectively say if classes are better. But in this case, Yellow, which was a girl, and I have no problem playing girls in games. I actually like to play girls in games as a switch up. But I basically was forced into playing Yellow. And this was Zombicide Black Plague, by the way. So Black Plague is, from what I see, one of the best. My favorite's Invader. I don't know why Invader gets so much negativity, but we'll get into that. So I'm playing Black Plague, and I'm playing Yellow, and this player who is playing Magic the Gathering next to me, I will never forget this. He leans over and is like, "Yeah, Yellow sucks." And I was just like, "Okay, I guess I got the crappy class out of the game." But I also remember, so dead turns. People talk about dead turns in this game, and it really is kind of a thing. So I remember not doing anything almost the entire game because people had their, their idea of the game and how it's how you're supposed to play it. And we're talking about dice rolling too, by the way. So yeah, managing odds with dice rolling gets a little, that's what makes it fun, though, is that anything can happen. But then you get people who want to stick to deterministic almost. They play dice rolling as if it's a deterministic outcome, which means that they, know or expect it to be an outcome. But that kind of takes away why we roll dice, honestly, in my opinion. So anyways, I remember doing nothing in Zombicide Black Plague as Yellow, who is the fat. And I remember the gamer actually whose board game this was, he's pretty cool. And he was like, because I ended up being the one running into a room and finding something that they needed and then running out. And it literally was because I didn't know what I was doing. And I just ran into a random room, and they were like, well, all you can do now is search. And I was like, all right, I'll search. So I found an item that they were very happy to find. So that was kind of interesting. But I actually didn't complete that game. I had to go to work that day. It's funny that I can remember all of this. But but yeah, so Zombicide, the type of game that it is, I feel like people can look at it and expect there to be a lot more searching and exploring almost, but it is a very linear kind of, at times it feels deterministic, but if you take chances in it, that's when I really think it gets fun. But so yeah, as a whole, Zombicide, each one, there's the Green Horde, Black Plague, Invader, this newest one, Dead or Alive, which actually we're going to get into right now. Let's get into Dead or Alive. I'm going to switch cams here. So I feel like people's first thought initially, I'm going to make sure that this is switching over, so forgive me just for a second. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna start talking about Dead or Alive. Or no, it's actually Undead or Alive. Ha! I did not have the title correct. So, with all of these themes that they are basically kind of putting over the core mechanics of Zombicide, because if you look at all of the games, each one is pretty much the same system. But I will say they do a good job. They add little touches here and there that make the game unique. Why can I not see this? Sorry again that I'm pausing. So, Zombicide, Undead or Alive. I don't want to start talking about it until I can tell that I can see it switching over. Oh, here we go. Yep, okay, we're switching over. So Undead or Alive. So this is the newest, hottest one. 24 hours to go, basically 25 hours. And yeah, I think for about $140, you get a boatload of plastic. Now this is kind of, and these are a lot of copy and pasted sculpts. So this is kind of a negative. I've seen someone talking about this Zombicide specifically. Yes, there is a lot of copy and pasted sculpts, but the all of them have like 3 or 4 different base monsters. So, or it'd be workers, seekers, and abominations and tanks. So you got 4 really that you're working with in the game. But so this newest one, I will say, so the survivors, they use a lot of reference to different types of movies, and this one really does have, man, I can't even imagine. Doc Holliday. So you got Doc, which I believe was in the last Zombicide as well. But so like thematically, in Invader, they have Stephen Hawking, who can control all of the bots at any time. You don't have to have a control, which is kind of cool, like a thematic touch. But I thought that was funny. And you can also play Doc and Invader. But each character doesn't really bring much difference as far as mechanics. I mean, they make them feel just different enough. So that's one kind of thing, again, I was saying about Zombicide, is that it is a fun hack and slash dice chucker, and that is it. There's no deep role playing here. As you could, if you're a good, or not good, I should say, but if you're a creative role player, then yeah, you can have fun with this and get into, playing a character and just killing zombies. But this game, it's just kind of more about how many miniatures fit on the board. It has lots and lots of miniatures that swarm the table. And that can be fun. Maybe not all the time. Yeah, there's other engaging types of gameplay that offer more deep, choices and stuff. But this game definitely, I think, does what it does pretty well. Um, so, as a miniature painter, this is a really good deal. I mean, let's see, 88 figures. So that's just in the base game, I believe. Yeah. I believe this would be... Oh, that's the Dead West pledge. Okay, which is $100. Let's find the full. Let's see how many miniatures you're getting. Because I'm sure it's a lot. So yeah, they already have an expansion. So that's another plus. So I think you're getting close to $1 or $2 per miniature, which is about as cheap as miniatures can get. So as a miniature painter, this is, I think, a good way to go about buying miniatures. It really is reasonable. But now to say to say that about a game that people are supposed to play and have fun with is kind of bad, but it really does help. So yeah, let's see what's specific to this game in particular. I know there's a train track, I believe. So yeah, there's like a train that moves back and forth, and I'm assuming you can get on it. I think you can kill zombies with it. Yeah, you can kill zombies with a train, which is that's hilarious. That's exactly what you would expect from this type of game. But yeah, I also like the wooden dice. I don't know why. To me personally, I like wooden things, so they could have going the extra mile in making wooden player boards. Now that would actually be a step up, and what I would expect from Kickstarter. There's some Kickstarter components. The quality is just, I don't think some people really think about that. We joke about games are just cardboard pieces, but some of them have very nice components. This one I would say is just from, I have Invader, and this one looks to be, I'm sure this is the same quality. Yeah, the miniatures, the detail is good for what you're getting. They compare to Reaper Bones miniatures, which are the cheapest that you can get on the market and buy in singles. So, could I recommend this specific Kickstarter to someone who already has Zombicide? That's where you start to get into kind of a rabbit hole. I feel like I have Invader, and nothing about any of the other games makes me want to own another version of Zombicide. So, but speaking of Invader, now we're gonna get into Invader, and I'm gonna break down a couple things about Invader specifically that I like. So forgive me while I switch this here. Okay, my camera setup's kind of wonky with this, but this is going to give just kind of a quick idea on Invader. So I'm actually going to get the box. If you have Invader, and you're looking to spice it up, because I wanted to, kind of expand it. There's a lot of miniatures here and stuff. So this is kind of an overview on Invader. And what I think, you can do, say you bought Invader like I did and you didn't get in on the Kickstarter. Well, with a couple of different purchases, like the promo Xeno pack, which is going to involve getting 4 new types of... Where's the other one? Hang on. Oh no, I lost the rules card. Okay, well, there it is. Unorganized mess I am. Okay. So, in the promos pack, you get these 4 new Xenos, or Xenos, sorry. And really, that's how you're gonna, freshen up the game, and it really does a lot. I wouldn't recommend buying any of the... sorry, I'm having a brain fart right now. I'm going to take a drink of my tea real fast. Hope everyone watching is having a good day, Okay. So the characters in Invader, there's a whole bunch of them. Lots and lots of characters. And upon wanting to expand my version of Zombicide Invader, looking through all these characters, I'm like, wow. I'm starting to realize that mechanically they don't really bring too much to the game. So if you want to play with, Doc or Stephen Hawking, thematically, I could see how buying 1 or 2 different characters for any of these games, if they have that many, because they really dump into the characters. I mean, it just looks like they're just like, who do we got? Bring in, especially with what, there's Western movie references with these characters. I could already see, I think there was Billy the Kid. There's a couple other ones, but so I think really with Invader, it's kind of easy to get lost in that, wanting to expand. So here's how I'm going to tell you to freshen it up and kind of like bring some new play to your game, and even how you can build a deck, because the Xenos are controlled by a deck. So some simple ratios to involve into your deck building are going to freshen up the game. So the deck originally is 54 cards, right? And there are 12 Abomination cards. So the 12 Abomination cards, I'm just going to get these rules out too. So yeah, let's just talk about the main deck and mechanically what's going on. 12 Abomination cards. These are obviously, spoiler, Abomination, pretty much the worst card you can get in Invader. So you got your 4 types of Xenos, or excuse me, 3, yeah, 4 altogether. So these are basically, here's a cat whisker. Get that out of here. Okay, so these are basically what's going on in your deck. When you get the Xenos promo pack, you're also going to get some more monster cards. Specifically, these. And the Flinger and Xenomorphs really kind of are I think the cooler ones, just as like they actually have different mechanics in gameplay. So, there's that. You also get a different type of worker that is kind of more almost smarter, a little bit beefier, and kind of like, I don't know, just a little bit different variation on that. And you get the Driller Blitzers, which are super tanks basically. So yeah, definitely get the promo Xeno pack, which will add some variation. So like, for example, there's one. So 54 cards. If you build it your own deck, and they even talk about that in the manual, that you can take out certain cards. They're numbered, so the higher the number of the card, the more powerful it is, essentially. And I'm not going to get too far into the ratios of that, or past that. It's good that they put a number on it, so you can just look at it like that. But just remember, there's 12 Abomination cards in a 54 card deck. And that's, I mean, that's pretty high chances that you're just going to draw an abomination on turn one. Like, especially if there's more than one spawn point, so you're drawing 2 or 3 cards per turn. So that's going to put you, I mean, man, a 54 card. I know if there was 4 cards in a 60 card deck, that's about 41% chance you would draw one in a 7 card hand. So say 5 or 6 cards into the deck, you're most likely going to see a spoiler abomination. But what that means is is that to the ratio of 54 cards, make sure that you have about 12 abomination cards. Speaking of different abominations, and this is another one that's not in the main game. So in the main game, there's only one spoiler abomination. And, maybe you want a big baddie to show up again and, wreak havoc. And the Widowmaker abomination is kind of my more favorite one as to switch it up. So there's the Widowmaker. The Stomper abomination is another one I would probably say is worth getting. But there's a Babyface abomination, I believe. Yeah, Babyface abomination. Mechanically, he gives all of them an extra activation, all of the regular Xenos. But I don't remember anything really else about him, and that's just something you could tack on to another abomination. So really, Babyface, and honestly, I don't like the sculpt either, so kind of biased on that one. But so yeah, one interesting thing you can do. So I did this one deck is I took all of the new workers, and the old workers, which is, let me get my reference sheet. So 17 work cards in the stock or base game deck, and then the Seeker workers are 11. So that would be 28 cards with just workers. And then from there, you throw in like another, maybe just like the hunters. I was calling them Seekers, weren't I? Hunters. That is a misnaming of me there. But yeah, so you just take workers, all of the workers, put them together. That's going to be 28. And then you could go, 13 hunter cards. So that would be 41, I believe, plus 12 abominations, which would be 53. And then to make it 54, one Widowmaker abomination. And so thematically, I call this one Worker City. So Worker City, I haven't play tested this yet, but this is just kind of a deck building sort of thing. But obviously the bulk of it is just workers, and then you got hunters. And actually, what I was going to do, just even more thematically, take out some of the easier hunter cards, and then put in two driller blitzers, which are the queens of the city. So you have a thematic deck of Worker City, a bunch of workers with hunters, 2 driller blitzers, which are the bodyguards of the queen, which is the Widowmaker, and then you got Daddy, who's the spoiler abomination. So that was one deck that I thought of, and just playing with, so stick with 54 cards because that's the original deck, and just tweak it. One thing I know you can do that makes it really hard is just taking cards out besides abomination cards, because the more abominations you draw, harder the game's going to be. So yeah, that's kind of a quick breakdown of how I think you can, let me get back to my face cam, get this off, how you can spice up Invader. So Xeno promo pack, that's pretty much, if you're going to get anything, get the Xeno promo pack for Invader. And Black Ops, I'm glad I remember this, because Black Ops is the retail expansion of Invader. And honestly, the gameplay, it's just a set of rules that it uses for different models. So literally, if you want to play Black Ops, just look at those rules and play those rules. And because it even comes with, I think, hole tiles. I forget what they're called. They're like pit tiles, but the Invader has mold tiles, so just play them as pit tiles. So, you know, and I'm not saying don't buy the game, just because Zombicide sells a lot. So get one copy of it. Again, this Undead or Alive looks pretty cool. For me, thematically, I'm just not into Western enough to want to buy a Western-themed game. Not saying I wouldn't play it. I would definitely play it. I'm sure I would love it. I would enjoy it a lot. But yeah, especially if it's the perfect player count, 3 players. But they also have... so I didn't even think about this. But I think in the rules of all of them, you can play past 7 players. I think you can play at really high player counts. So if you do have 4 or 5 players, you guys could all just control 2 or 3 characters. And your maps are going to be significantly larger and stuff. And at that point, you're probably building scenarios too with it. So, but yeah, this has been a video on Zombicide, and more or less tried to cover everything that I think about this game. I'm just scrolling through Undead or Alive. Let's go back to that. So I definitely think if you don't have Zombicide, this one, actually, let's look at, the Wendigo Abomination. That one, that's an awesome miniature. Right there. That's, I would love to paint that, you know? The Great Trickster Spirit Abomination. That one's pretty cool. Thematically, it does stand out a little bit. I feel like the Wendigo fits more the theme, but the I don't remember seeing any wolf-headed man in the Western movies that I've seen. Maybe I need to look at more Western movies. The pus bag, that's pretty gross. Fat Mace Abomination. Mariachi Walker. Swamp Tongue. Some of these miniatures are really good. Some of them definitely... Oh, yeah. Sheriff Mittens. The fact that they put Sheriff Mittens. That is hilarious. I mean, you know some people want to be Sheriff Mittens blowing up abominations. That's great. Melting Pot. Oh. I didn't even see that one. Yeah, Melting Pot. Oh. That's probably the sickest miniature in the game in this version. That's my vote. Sickest miniature in Zombicide, Undead or Alive. Melting Pot. Oh, just look at that. That is yeah, painting that would be just sick diggity. Yep. I'm just gonna scroll through and look at some stuff. See it kind of looks like Jack Sparrow. It's not though. See if I notice any more references here. I'm sure like every single one of these. Wild Bill, that's definitely a more famous name. Father Luke. Oh yeah, so another interesting, actually, yeah, forgot about this. I believe there's 4 classes, and each miniature, because yeah, that's this little symbol down here. Each miniature or a character falls into a class. Where are your classes? There it is. So yeah, the classes of the Old West: Brawler, Gunslinger, Faithful, and Townsfolk. So I'm assuming each class, it kind of has a description here, are going to receive bonuses. Yeah, so Gunslinger, obviously range, brawler, damage, faithful, healing, and strong against undead. Well, you're in luck. Even townsfolk has risen against the zombie scourge. Yep. Pretty cool. It's a little, I mean, it's a nice way they spiced it up. I don't even think Invader has classes. I don't know if it's technically, you basically have a tank. They're all just stat kind of based. You have you have civilians and soldiers. That's what Invader has. It just has two differences, and the only difference is one can search a specific type of room. So again, I mean, the game is not, it's not thematically that deep, you know, but it is fun. There's fun to be had in Zombicide. So yeah, and that's probably a whole other video getting into, you know, what is fun in board games to certain people. I can certainly tell you some board games that I think is fun that people just run at the sight of. Let's see how long we're going here. 31 minutes. That's fair. I think I've said all I can say. Ooh, a Steam gauge, huh? What is the Steam? Oh, I guess that's the level. Is there even levelers up? It is interesting to see what differences they change. And they know what they're doing with that. Okay, so every Zombicide has the experience level or tracker down here, which is neat. You know, first time I played Zombicide, I sat down. I was like, oh, look at this player board. It's cool. You know, I want to touch it. I want to play. I want to take the little thing and put it where it needs to be, and then level it up each time. I mean, that's little things like that. I don't think not everyone picks up on that. That could really make or break your game. Steam dice. Yeah, I wish Invader had a Kickstarter exclusive dice. I think it did, but they were like add-ons, so you had to pay more. Oh, these are amazingly painted. Look at that ground. Just a nice faded, shaded brown. Yeah. Miniatures, definitely fun to paint. Some great miniatures. They're not too over the top in design, you know, you just get what you got. Like this steampunk chainsaw right here. That looks mechanically sound, you know? It's not overbearing with little doodads and bits. I like his armor right here, you know? Armor, some nice shiny effects going on there with your paint job. Ooh, the lighting on this one is pretty good. It's a nice miniature. Sculpt and paint job. Definitely this dress would be fun. I mean, painting cloth and stuff, always a good challenge. Oh, I didn't realize he had a mustache. Or his breastplate armor, which looks, again, pretty. I mean, these sculpts they're good. You know, they're illustrative enough to make sense, and they're not too tacky, or, you know, but they still have a bit of cartooniness to them. I don't know what a better word for cartooniness is, but so yeah. If you don't, final submission. Oh, and the bear miniature, man. You know, the funny thing about this is I still could back this. A lot of people still could back this, and I'm basically saying not to if you already have a game of Zombicide, which would be completely contrary. And this is the Kickstarter culture, if you will. I'm foreshadowing to a video that I plan on putting out about Kickstarter specifically and what I think that it does to gaming. That will be in the future, but man, a gorilla abomination. That's actually wait a second. When was a gorilla in the Wild West? When did that happen? Did that ever happen? That is hilarious. And an alligator? When did that ever happen? So let me guess. You brought a zoo to the Wild West because it's a new frontier. We're establishing land. Why not? And then he became an abomination, and now you have to kill him. Yeah, it's really the issue of money too. I would rather save my money and than wait. I should maybe talk about Darkest Dungeon, but that would be a different video. That's my current large Kickstarter back. I paid way too much money for way too many miniatures. So, but that's a similar game. It's a hack and slash kind of dungeon crawly sort of game. So, yep. So, final submission. I kind of went on a tangent there. If you already have a copy of Zombicide, whatever, Green Horde, Black Plague, Invader, I think there's one I'm missing. Which one did they just came out? I already forgot the most recent one. I think it was Invader. But then this probably, I'm not going to recommend it because, if you already have Zombicide of any flavor, if you don't, and you are a miniature painter, and you're looking for a fun dice chucking game that is going to give you way too many miniatures to paint, so many that you're not going to paint all of them. You're just not. You know what? If you paint all of these miniatures, let me know, and I will reward you with something for real, because there's just so many that unless you're getting paid or something to paint all these miniatures, or you do batch painting, but that would be impressive. So give me a call. But yeah, I don't recommend this if you already have Zombicide. If you don't, I'm sure you'll have great fun, and if Western themes are something you can jam, then that's going to be a plus. So that is all I can really say. I hope you enjoy your board gaming time. And I'm getting a call, so that means I have to go. I will see you guys.